tutorial, I'm going to explain how you work with your pans and get them ready for your cake batter. If you like this type of tutorial, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Turn the notifications on so you receive all the details from when I post videos, and remember that all the links are posted in the comment box below. We are going to get started with parchment paper. And for the parchment paper, you have a few ways you can do this. You can take a pencil and mark the paper with the pan on top and have an outline where to cut the paper. This will give you a perfect fit of the paper in the pan. Once you have it marked, you can cut it by following the line, or you can fold the paper in half and cut it faster. As you can see, it fits perfectly inside the pan. There is another way you can cut this, and it's by folding the paper. In my preference, I think this is a lot of time just folding paper. Some people tend to think that this saves time, but quite honestly, I think that by the time I fold the paper, I just cut the circle and I'm done. But here it is, just in case you wanna learn how to do it. You just fold the paper in half and then you keep folding it until you have a triangle. My pan measures 8 inches in diameter, so basically I will want to cut this 4 inches in length. So I can measure this from the tip to the top 4 inches and mark it, and then I can use the pan to cut this in a circle and have the perfect shape. Once I have my mark, I just place it at the edge of the pan and use the curve of the pan to cut it. And I'm done. You open this and then you place it on your pan. If you're OCD and don't like all the lines in the paper, just go back to basics. If you're good at cutting things by eye, you can actually put the point in the center of the pan and use the border to cut it. But there's a big probability that you either cut it too big or too small. Some people like to put the paper at the bottom and that's it. Then you put some shortening or border on the sides and you're done. But some people like to add what is called a collar. And basically, you can make this as tall as you need. If you want to fill your pan a little bit higher, then you can add a few inches to the paper and make your cake taller. So you will need the length of your pan in the paper, and then all I am adding is the height. My pan is 3 inches tall, and let's say I want to make it taller, I added another inch. This will depend on how much taller you want your cake. Once you have your parchment paper cut, all you need to do is grease your pans. Some people will use just water. I like to use the grease because I feel it sticks better. This is very personal, it's your option. Just make sure that you grease your pan really well so the paper will stick to it. Some people say that parchment paper helps their cakes stick to the side and not shrink. So this is one way to help for those cakes that tend to shrink a little bit more than others. Once you finish adding your grease, you can place the paper and then you can place the sides. Just measure the side, make sure that you have enough, and cut if you have excess. And then once you have the perfect measure, you can place your paper around it. If you feel that the paper is not sticking to the side, just add more shortening to it. You want to make sure that the paper overlaps, and I do put a little bit of shortening in the overlapping area to make sure it's tight and sealed. Now you're ready to place your batter in it and bake your cake. As you can see, I have more space so I could put more batter in here if I wanted a taller cake. My next option would be just the old-fashioned way, just adding a coat of shortening or butter. I prefer using shortening because butter have water and the water might help the cake stick to the pan, so you have to be careful with this. Shortening does contain more fat and it prevents sticking better than butter does. If you decide to stay with the butter, just make sure that you add enough butter so the cake doesn't stick. And once the cake is baked, you can always run a knife around the cake to make sure it doesn't stick to the pan. Once you have added your fat, you want to add the flour. And for this, you want to make sure it's all around the pan. One thing that I do like to make sure is that I don't overdo it with the flour and take the excess off. I like to have a light coat because I don't like my cake to taste like flour. The next one would be using Goop. And I posted a video tutorial on how to make Goop. Goop only requires 3 ingredients and is pretty easy to make. You can take a pastry brush or a paper towel and just make sure that everything is covered with the Goop. I will post the link for the Goop recipe on the comment box below. I'll be honest, I'll be lazy here and there and just spray the pan and get it done. So if you have a lazy day, go ahead, it works great too. Just like the Goop, you just spray it and you're done with it. One thing I will add is to make sure you clean the tip so it doesn't get clogged and stops working. No matter what you decide to do, it is important that you get your pans ready before baking so your cake doesn't stick to it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, visit me in Facebook, share your work with me, visit me in Instagram. You can also subscribe to the blog. If you want more tutorials, feel free to visit my website. The links are posted in the comment box below. Until next time, ta-ta!